Welcome to How I Unfucked My Life. Yeah, I know, that sounds a little aggressive and offensive, but so is life, and we need aggressive solutions. So, let's get started. Let's talk about some of the most dangerous phrases that you use without even thinking about it. These phrases prevent you from becoming successful, from reaching the heights that you never thought possible, from living a life of freedom, or from building confidence or making the choices that are going to change your life. These phrases actually rewire your brain every time you say them, and they train your brain to be powerless or to think you're powerless when the reality is you're not. The phrases, I can't, I have no choice, there's nothing I can do. We've all said them. I've said them. You've probably said it at some point today without even realizing. But those phrases are not facts. They are excuses. They are the ways that we hand over our power and make ourselves believe we're stuck when really we're not. Nobody's stuck. You definitely may feel like you are, but you're definitely not stuck. Ever hear the saying, you're one decision away from a completely new life? Well, it's the truth. We're choosing our lives every day, whether you want to believe that or not. You choose what time you get up, what time you go to bed, what are you going to wear, what are you going to eat, how are you going to get to work, where you're going to work, everything. Everything you do is a choice. So when you're faced with a decision and your answer is, I can't, or I have no choice, or there's nothing I can do, you're closing the door to freedom. You're closing the door to any chance of changing your life. This isn't positive affirmations or wishful thinking. These are facts. And as a matter of fact, I don't even like the word choice because it leaves an option for not doing. I like the word decide. Like, decide that you're going to move forward. Decide you are going to finally take the steps to open that business. Decide that you're going to set boundaries. Because when you decide, you're declaring. And when you think you have a choice, it becomes wishy-washy. But that's a whole other topic. I'm kind of getting off track here. So back to the phrases that are keeping you where you don't want to be. First one, I can't. Now, to me, the translation is I won't. So if you say, I can't set boundaries with my family, you're saying I won't because it's uncomfortable and I don't want the backlash. Or I can't set boundaries with my friends. That means I won't because I'm afraid they won't like me anymore. Or I can't quit this job. Translation, I won't because I don't like the risk or the unknown, the fear of the unknown. Or how about I can't start my business now? That's I won't because I'm afraid of failure or what others are going to think about me. Or how about I have no choice? That usually means I don't like my choices. We always have a choice. You just don't like the options because one is harder, scarier, or more disruptive. And with change comes disruption. And God knows we can't disrupt our mediocre lives. I have no choice but to keep this job right now equals I don't want to change and put up with the disruption and the uncertainty that comes with it. Or I have no choice but to stay in this relationship. That's I don't want to leave because I'm afraid that I can't make it on my own. Now, there's nothing I can do about it. That means I don't want to take responsibility for what comes next. You may not be able to change what's already happened, goes without saying, but you always have a say in what you do from that moment forward. So stop letting these excuses run your life. Stop letting your limiting beliefs hold you back from a situation or a job or any place that you truly don't want to be. Life is hard. I mean, this shit is real hard. And decisions are hard and change is hard. Nobody was promised an easy life, but yet it's what we expect and it's what we crave. Ever hear the saying, nothing worth having comes easy? Well, a life worth living isn't going to fall into your lap. You're going to have to put in the work and make the hard decisions. Face the fear, face the disruption, face the uncomfortableness. So why do we say them so often? It's not because we're lazy. We use them because of what some of the reasons I just said. We're afraid of change. We don't want conflict. We'd rather sit in victim mode than face the discomfort of taking our power back. You say them because it's easy. It excuses you from actually having to do the hard things, or at least the hard things that you're unsure of. Saying I can't or I have no choice lets you off the hook. It's easier to believe life is happening to you instead of admitting you're part of the problem. So the cost of saying them, well, every time you say I can't, you're training your brain to stop looking for a solution. You shut the door and you shrink your world down to what feels safe. And you start to live small. Why? Because it's comfortable. That's why. Because let's face it, staying in a situation that you don't want to be in or staying in a job you hate sucks, but it's the suck you know, which is more comfortable than the suck you don't. When you say, I can't, stress feels bigger, dreams feel impossible, and you end up telling yourself a story about why life will never change. When the truth is, you've already decided not to change it. When all you have to do is start making different choices, and you'll create a different life. Changing your life, becoming successful, choosing differently, it's all hard. But so is remaining stagnant, mediocre, the same. So choose your hard. I know I would rather the hard of changing my life instead of the regret that would come later on when I knew I could have done so much more and been so much more, but I chose not to. That's fucking hard. So when I started this journey 4 years ago, let me tell you, it was the scariest, hardest thing I've ever done. I knew nothing about any of this. I didn't know anything about podcasting, public speaking, writing, all of this technology crap. I knew nothing. All I had was a dream of a life I knew I wanted and that I deserved, and the freedom that came with it. I can't tell you the nights that I cried, the money I lost, the relationships that fell off because I chose to chase my dream, because I chose myself. I will tell you, there were so many times I wanted to throw in the towel. I wanted to give up and go back to mediocre. And I wanted to because mediocre was easy. It sucked, but it was easy. But thank God I didn't. I didn't crack. I kept pushing. I kept recording. I kept speaking. My desire to help other people get through this life with more than just being average was my dream. And it still is. And it's still hard. But if you were to ask me right now, was it worth it? My answer would be fuck yes. And not because I make a ton of money, and not because I have fame, because I don't, and not because of anything other than I'm living my life how I choose on my terms. I took the road of change. I can't say, or I'm sorry, I didn't say I can't. I said I'm learning. I didn't say I have no choice, because I did, and I chose me every single day. And I continue to choose me. And every time I speak, or when people listen to my podcast and they say, oh, you helped me so much, or just thank you, that reinforces my why, and it lights the way. I know this is my path. I know it's the path I should be on, and I am in it for the long haul, no matter how hard it gets. So do you want to take your power back? Start by changing your words. Own what you mean. So realize when you say I can't, say I won't right now because. It forces you to own the reason instead of hiding behind the excuse. Instead of I have no choice, say I don't like my options. That reminds you that you do have choices. You just need the courage to pick one. And instead of there's nothing I can do, say what can I do from here forward? What is my next logical step? That shifts your brain into problem-solving mode instead of helpless mode. You see, this isn't about making everything easy. Choosing differently is usually hard. It costs you something: comfort, approval, money, certainty, sometimes people. But here's the thing: living powerless costs you way more. Every time you say, I can't, you're building a cage around yourself. Every time you say, I have no choice, you're handing the keys to someone else. And every time you say, there's nothing I can do, you're letting the past dictate your future. So here's my challenge for you. This week, pay attention to how often you say those phrases. Catch yourself and flip it. Instead of I can't, say I'll find a way. Instead of I have no choice, say I don't like my choices, but I'm choosing the best possible option right now. And if you go to my description of the show, you're going to find a free list of phrases that keep you stuck and what you can say instead. The moment you stop speaking powerless is the moment you stop living powerless. And that shift changes everything. If this episode hit home for you, do me a favor, share it with somebody who you think might need to hear it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I didn't and I don't take it lightly that you chose to be here. keep choosing you. Listen, at the end of the day, it's simple. You either make excuses or you make progress, but you can't do both. If something in this episode hit home, then sit with it. Do something about it. And if you're serious about changing your life, start acting like it. And if you're not, well, that's on you. Life doesn't wait. I'll catch you next time on How I Unfucked My Life. And remember, nothing changes if you don't.